Kumbaya, 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 my lord. Come on, everyone, let's sing it together. Kumbaya. Let's all gather together as gamers and just have a kumbaya moment over Crackdown 3. What's up, everyone? Happy President's Day for those of us who are off. I'm off today. Thank goodness. I work for a company that gives off federal holidays. It's always a bonus. It's always nice to get those holidays off. Big fan of that. So, um, yes, I wanted to talk to you about the things. All right. In all seriousness, I wanted to talk about Crackdown 3. I was gonna do a rant and I wasn't gonna do a rant. And just talking to more people on the Twitters and then talking to people and then, having a conversation on the Iron Lords podcast yesterday afternoon regarding Crackdown. By the way, if you didn't get a chance to check out the Iron Lords podcast, I do recommend that you check them out. Great group of gentlemen, great group of gamers. Big shout out to those guys. Big fan of their show. So definitely check out the Iron Lords podcast. If you haven't done so already, you're missing out on great stuff, great topics, great game discussion, great insight, just all around good dudes. On that note, let's see here. Hold on a sec here, guys. Just need to adjust some settings. And then we will be on our way with Crackdown 3. What's up, everyone in the live chat? Big shout out to Daniel B. Don't call me Danny. Envy of Astoria. What's going on, guys? Don't call me Danny says, get him, Enrique, get him. I don't know if I'm going to be getting, I'm not going to be, look, this isn't a personal attack against anyone. It's just my opinions, my thoughts on some of the uproar over the Crackdown 3 reviews and how I feel about the constant bombardment of gaming media. I just read this morning, I'm not going to name any names, but someone basically tweeted out that, that there was a hit out on this game. And it's just, guys, I mean, I really want you to think about this. I just feel like maybe I shouldn't say this, but I feel like sometimes people maybe just get wrapped up emotionally in this stuff. I don't know. And they lose that ability to step back and just critically think about things and just say, wait a minute. Like, it's funny. We had David Jaffe on a couple weeks ago. And I asked Dave, I said, Dave, is the gaming media, biased against Xbox? And he's like, what do you mean? Do you mean that, they have, obviously natural biases towards maybe a preference of playing games on a certain platform? I said, no. Do you think that they, have it out for Microsoft? Like they want them to fail? He's like, oh, so do you think that he's like, so do you think that I think that, the game media gets together and sits in a room and sits in a room, a conference room, and talks about, hey, let's think about ways we could fuck over Microsoft and the Xbox. And he's like, no, I don't think that happens. He's like, that doesn't happen. And I agree with him. I don't think there's not a hit out on Crackdown 3, and I don't like that narrative because I think it's disingenuous. I think that it creates it kind of stirs the hornet's nest, if you will. And I think unfortunately there's people out there that are diehard fanboys, and we see it like on all sides of whatever platform, whether it's PC, whether it's Xbox, whether it's PlayStation 4, whether it's Nintendo. There's fanboys on every side there, and as you guys know, watching the show for a long time, I am not a fanboy. I don't agree with fanboy culture. I think it's anti-consumer. I think it does more harm than good. And so that's why I'm always weary of what I see, the consistent bashing of media. And and look, the Crackdown 3, I think in Metacritic right now is probably around hovering 59 or 60, whatever. Look, if you like the game, that's fine. And I think it's great that you like the game, that you're having fun. And look, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, look, there's a lot of games that I played this console generation that weren't highly rated games. I am somebody who enjoyed Rise, Son of Rome a lot. And I enjoyed it because that anything in Rome with Roman history to it, or any kind of game or movie that takes me back to that Roman period of time, is just something that just interests me. I just always been fascinated with Roman and Greek history for some reason. I just have, and you're a big fan of the movie Gladiator, and so Rise kind of gave me that Gladiator fix. Like I come in, you know, as a Roman, somebody in the Roman army, and just kick some ass. And I thought that was kind of cool. I got to kick some ass as a Roman soldier, and I thought that was great. Now, did the game have its flaws? Yes, there was times where the game was frustrating. The QTE was pretty much irrelevant to me because there weren't any. Like with the QTE with Rise, like if you were to hit a combination of buttons and you missed, let's say, hitting the Y button, you would still um like do some kind of executing move. And so there was real no, yeah, you wouldn't get any points that you could use towards upgrading or using like certain skills in battle. Um, and so even with Rise and the QTE, and I thought that was a low point for it, and it wasn't executed well. I still enjoy the game, and I think a lot of people are missing um one. I think people just don't understand what really goes into reviews. And again, I'm not saying, I just think there's a lot of misinformation out there. I think there's a lot of people that I see things where people are saying, oh well, they gave ABC game an 8.5, and they gave Crackdown a 6, and and that game, and ABC game didn't is just ABC game, and Crackdown is Crackdown. So why the disparity? And I think what people are missing is a lot of times when people are reviewing games, you got to remember a lot of the reviewers that are reviewing games now. OBJ the Don, OBJ, I'm telling you, the future is game streaming. Sean Layden talked about it. OBJ is going to say, no, it's not. Um, yeah, so like when you think about game reviews, and a lot of these reviewers have been playing games in some instances for majority of their life. A lot of them have been in the business for, like, Ryan McCaffrey's been doing this for like 16 years. And you got to think about all the titles and games that he has played. And so he is drawing, much like myself. Like I've been gaming for 37 years. So a lot of times when I'm playing games, and I'm critically thinking about what I'm experiencing. I'm usually drawing comparisons to similar games that I played within this game, same subset of genre. I'm usually thinking about how does this game experience. Yeah, Jeff Keighley. Don't call me Dan. Said Jeff Keighley's been doing it since he was a teenager. You're right. So I'm always drawing upon games that I have experienced in the past or current gen, more so in the current gen. I don't think it's fair to benchmark games this current gen to the last generation, because gaming has evolved over these last console generations. And I think that's an important piece to remember. I think when you're looking at Crackdown, and people are like, well, wait a minute, Crackdown, got an 80. This is basically Crackdown like the first one. Why is it getting a 60 or whatever the case is? Um, and really, people, I think, focus too much on the idea of the numerical value assigned 60. Why is it a 60? And I often wonder, and I don't think people read and digest what's actually being written about the game. I think that, look, I read IGN's review. I will say, and I got a review copy from Microsoft, and I'm currently playing Crackdown 3, and I will probably have my review out later this week. Later than everyone else because I didn't get my review code until the day before release. So, um, you know, I'll say this for what I've played so far. It is fun. I mean, like, you don't get me wrong. Like, there's the platforming elements are fun. I love Terry Crews. There's not enough Terry Crews. I think that was a big missed opportunity. But like at hour 2 into this game, I hit a wall. I hit a wall. Everything just became so repetitive. And while that worked for me, that gameplay loop of Crackdown worked for me 12 years ago, I have matured as a gamer. I've evolved. My evolution as a gamer has happened because the evolution of games has happened. I have My taste has changed in gaming because gaming has changed since the last Crackdown. So if you look at open sandbox world games, that genre within itself has changed, and a lot of the change has been due to technology, due to publishers putting out better versions of open sandbox world games. I mean, that's just the reality of the situation, the reality the world we live in. Now, that's not to say that Crackdown can't be fun for some people, but what I don't get is why do you get so angry with the review? And this is the part, like, is it? It's funny. Like, I'm wondering, like, is it a need to, validate your purchase or validate your own self and your opinions, your beliefs about things? Because you shouldn't need someone else to validate what you think about something. If you like Crackdown, awesome. I think that's great. If someone's having fun with it, that's awesome. You know, me in my case, I hit a brick wall. I hit a brick wall. I found the gameplay loop again to be very repetitive. Um, I found, um, I found the, I felt like and one of the things I'll talk about my review is I felt like there's a missed opportunity here. I know that the game went through developmental problems, issues over the last 5 years. I get that. I know that there wasn't supposed to be a single player. Um, I know there wasn't supposed to be a single player, um, campaign, but I think there is. Chicken Spaghetti says, "Isn't every game repetitive?" Chicken Spaghetti says, "Isn't every game repetitive, Enrique? It's just on a game-to-game basis on how the dev master repetitiveness. It's just small rebuttal for you, but defending is just a rebuttal." Yeah, I mean, there's obviously look, Chicken. There's obviously certain aspects of a game that are repetitive. For example, if you take a shooter, you load your weapon. That's a repetitive action. Um, but I think it's also important to remember that there's so many different aspects of um uh hey, what's up, irrelevant native? um Slow Mo says they are angry because they are getting picked on by the Sony fanboys. I hope nobody's get Slow Mo. I don't know. I hope no one's getting angry because they're getting. I don't know, man. I don't get picked on by Sony fanboys. So I haven't seen that, but I hope that's not the case. And if these people are picking on you because you're having fun with the game, screw them. Don't pay any attention to these fools. Um, I lost my train of shock of a train of thought here. Slow Mo's funny though. Um, Hold on a second. There's some good stuff here in the chat, guys. So I'm going to try to keep up with the chat and Rant at the same time. Um, Slomo, if you're not at work today, buddy, feel free to jump in. Okay, let's see here. So back to what Chicken said. I think Chicken brings up a great point, about every game being repetitive. Absolutely. I think there's certain aspects that are repetitive, but there's also different things that go into a game, whether it's the narrative experience, whether it's the mechanics, whether it's the character development. There's all these things that go into a game. So, what you find is that most games, like I think Chicken says, tend to master repetitiveness. Um, but this game, to me, just doesn't do that. I mean, the a lot of the times when you're fighting a lot of these mini bosses, it's almost this rinse and repeat thing, and there isn't there isn't enough variety, I think, to some of the missions, and that's been one of my complaints. And I've heard people compare, oh, well, Grand Theft Auto's open sandbox, and you're basically running around blowing shit up. Yeah, that's true to an extent, but there's a little more depth to GTA than just blowing shit up. There's some mission variety. There's character variety now in GTA 5. If you look at the main characters in the game, you get different perspectives from those characters playing as those characters. It adds a different element to the game. a deeper element to the game that I don't think was there in previous GTA games, which I think actually was one of the nice improvements of GTA 5 over GTA 4. That they tried, or they introduced different characters you can play as, and these different characters have different abilities and different perspectives. Um, Chicken Spiz but that Metro though. I haven't played Metro Exodus yet. Um, yeah, but so Envy of a Story brings up a good point. If you enjoy a game so much, just shouldn't be bothered by people not liking it. Just enjoy it if you do. And that's my point. Like if what's up, Gaming Forte? If you love this game, then fucking love it. Rock it out. Be like, you know what? Hey, Ryan McCaffrey, that's cool that you gave it a 6, whatever. Um, but I think the game's cool. I think the game is cool. I'm liking it. I'm having a good time. What's up, Xbox 448? Xbox in the house. I think it's cool, and I just, I just look, guys, and I know I get a lot of heat. People are like, "Oh, Enrique, you're a staunch defender of the media." No, I don't always agree with the media. The media isn't always right. They don't always get everything right, and I don't have the expectation that they're always going to get anything right. I think they do offer some value in the sense that I look at game reviews as insight into a game. I think the information that they provide there can be useful for some people. I don't really typically just focus on scores, and I really wonder like how many people actually look past the score and read actually. Oh, man, Slomo, that's not fun, man. Troubleshooting a VPN tunnel that doesn't pass data, that is no bueno, my friend. um, uh, um, oh my god, Irrelevant's trolling Xbot here. Irrelevant, why are you trolling Xbot 448, man? Leave the man alone. It's all in good fun though, people. Um, Sleepy Goblin says Metro is freaking wonderful. Yeah, I've heard some great things about it. I've heard that the shooting mechanics aren't on point though with the game, but I think the other aspects of the game make up for that. So, Chicken Spaghetti says, I wish reviewers would stop giving out scores and write a review, but I understand why they do it. Um, yeah, you know what? I think that's a great point, Chicken. I mean, I don't agree with reviews. I don't review scores. I think they should get rid of them because I think the problem is people only take the review score. They only look at the review score. They don't read the depth, and they don't read what was what the thoughts of the reviewer of the game. They just see the score and they run with it. And it's like you can't do that because I can't tell you how many like games that I play that are like sevens that I absolutely enjoy. Like I don't think, from my perspective, I don't think Shenmue is uh I don't think Shenmue was highly rated, if I'm not mistaken, as a series. I'd have to go back and look, but I believe Shenmue was not rated. And Shenmue is one of my favorite games ever, like one of my favorite series ever. And look, I've played games that are like nines, tens that I didn't like. That I was like, okay, I don't like this. Like, why did I play this? Um, so to an extent, look, there's parts of reviews that are based on facts, um, and there's parts of reviews that are based on opinion. Yeah, Slomo says that's another problem. Metacritic is not the end all be all for whether a game is good or not. No, it isn't. I absolutely agree with you, Slomo. I don't think just looking at a game, uh, Xbox says Shamu sucks. I disagree. uh, come on, Xbox man. That's one of the classics, man. That's one of the classics, man. Uh, but it's funny. I think Shamu at times may have been dinged for some repetitiveness, but I got to go back and look at those reviews. But I'm telling you, it's one of those games I enjoyed. I don't think reviewed well. Um, so yeah, I think like to Slow Mo's point, I don't think it's Metacritic should be the end all be all of review scores. I mean, it should. I mean, it's just a number. It's a numerical value. Um, the forklift simulator. I don't Xbot. Is that have you played? um, so sorry, guy. The live chat just cracking me up. Gaming Forte says I love Ninja Blade, but reviews said it sucked. Yeah, you know what? I actually Forte. It's funny. I actually enjoyed Ninja Blade myself. I didn't. I thought it was entertaining. Um, and the reviews panned it. I look. Eric Jackson. Big shout out to Eric Jackson, everybody. My man E Jackson was a big fan of. Oh my god, what's he? Oh, what's that game that he always talks about? Oh shit, what is it called? Hold on, guys. He just hold on. It'll come to me. Devil's Third. Devil's Third. All right. Devil's Third is a game that released on the Wii U, and it was created by oh my god, I forget his name now. Why am I forgetting his name? Ah, it's the guy that created Ninja Gaiden. I forget his name now. It's part of Team Ninja. He's no longer there. Anyhow, so Eric Jackson, Devil's Third, right? Came out in 2015. I believe it's exclusive on the Wii U. And Devil's Third has a 42 Metacritic. So, but Eric loves this game. He loves it. So, but Eric Eric never went out and started yelling at the game reviewers saying, "Oh, you're biased," or "There's a hit on this." Like, guys, we got to stop that. Like, seriously, it doesn't look good. It doesn't look good. Um, I don't think it looks good on the gaming community. I mean, I just don't. And look. I think it's okay to have constructive criticism and a healthy discord over, um, over um, over game reviews. That's fine. But like to pan these guys and to sit there and come up with these conspiracy theories, like there's hits, um, that the fix is in, that the media wants this game to suffer. I just don't. I've been gaming for 37 years. What I see in terms of reviews hasn't changed over the last 37 years. It really hasn't. It's again, reviews are typically based on facts. Those things are things like frame rate issues, loading times, those kinds of things. The subjective piece is the experience of the end user as they compare their experiences with a particular game to other games within that same genre. That's what they do. Um, Slomo says, OBJ, actually, let me go to OBJ to Don. He says, if a game averages good scores, usually turns out to be good. And when it averages bad scores, usually turns out to be trash. Either way, it should determine your purchase. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm, here's the thing. I think there's some people that inherently need to feel like their decision or their opinion on something needs to be validated. And if you're not getting them from a game review, you shouldn't I don't think you should lash out at the reviewer who's doing it because at the end of the day, it's a difference of opinions. And again, I'm not trying to beat a dead horse here. If you like the game, then like the game. Rock out with the game. I can tell you right now, I'm playing Crackdown 3 and reviewing it. I've hit a wall. I find the gameplay loop to be very repetitive. I think if and I have to hold that game to today's standards because if I don't, I feel like I'm not being honest with myself. And I'm not, I wouldn't be giving prospective people who are going to watch my review, the whole 5 people that might actually watch my review when it comes out. Um, uh, I don't want to like lie about something. I don't want to lie about something because it's exclusive to a console. Like that's not right either. I don't want to do that. I'd rather, and Gaming Forte brings up a great point. He says people tend to forget that a review is another person's experience of said game. People should only use them as a reference, not a fact. That is Forte. That is dead on, dead on, dead on. And you're right. It's a reference point, not a factual thing because there's two parts again that go into review. There's the facts piece, and there's the that subjective opinion that goes into how these people perceive their experiences. So, Slomo says you have a flawed system. Anytime you won't accept good reviews with no score, but accept bad reviews with no score. And I'm not going to score those at 40. Where's the balance? I feel Detroit and State of the K2 should have been higher. Um, Slim, I think that's a subjective piece of reviews, man. And you know, we're no, we're not always going to agree on review scores or the meat of the review by the person that's reviewing because we all have different tastes. We all interpret things differently. Our brains process things differently, and that's just it. I think like Forte said, this is something that should be used as a reference, not as a fact. And I think that's where I think people maybe people get in trouble. By the way, we have 26 people watching. Thanks for everyone's watching. We have 9 likes. People, let's get those likes up. Let's get those likes. Hit that like button. Subscribe if you haven't done so already. Someone's saying he's talking about Metacritic's flawed process of collecting reviews. Yeah, I agree with that. I don't think the system is the way Metacritic is collecting reviews is it's probably something that needs to be done better. Yeah, like I don't think they should accept any reviews that don't have scores when your system is based. I agree with that, Slomo. That's yeah. I don't know how you can include reviews that don't have scores on a system that's based on scoring. Doesn't make any sense. OBJ Don says to me, games aren't even about the money for them. They aren't worth my time, which is way more valuable to me. It's a good point, man. It's a great point. And I think a part of what's factored into some of these lower review scores for or these average to mediocre reviews for Crackdown 3 is the price point. I don't think for what I played, I don't think this game's worth $60. I just don't. And I know people say, oh well, you can play it in Game Pass. Yeah, that's true. But I also don't want I also don't want Game Pass to be this crutch for mediocre games too. That's a concern of mine that I talked about on Crossfire on Friday. I don't want Game Pass to be full of shovelware. Like I don't want to see that happen. Um, but I don't know, guys. Like I don't understand this need to constantly, and I've seen this more at the Xbox community, and I don't know why this happens. For Gaming Forte says $39.99 at most. Forte, I agree with you. I think $40 would have been a better price point. But I just don't understand this need to fight the media on their opinions. I mean, it's like, yo, that's their opinion. If you like the game, like it, but don't. Like, I just don't understand this. Like, I've seen some tweets where people are like, "Oh, it's this bullshit bias." They have it in for Xbox. Someone more recently, someone, uh, the Ashley says it won't be. She's referring to my shovelware, Halo Gear, Shadow of the Tomb Raider just got put in. Yeah, I mean, what I'm referring to, Luca, is the from a first party standpoint. Obviously, the Halo Gears, Forzas are good games. But I think much like I think when when you look at streaming services, and much like a Netflix, I don't think you have all those big movies that are movie franchises that are in things like Netflix. But I don't think anyone subscribes to Netflix saying, "Hey, I subscribe to Netflix because they have Avengers and they have Black Panther and they have Thor in there." No, I think a lot of people are subscribing because of the Netflix exclusive content, which is suspect at times. Although Luca has turned me on to some good shows on Netflix, so I appreciate that, Luca. Thank you. But that's my concern, that that we run the risk of if we're not honest or critical about some of the stuff that we're playing, um, that we run the risk of saying, hey, it's okay to put out mediocre to average products. We'll take it, and just for the sake of putting in Game Pass. I that's not what I want to see Game Pass become. And I'm not saying that it is. That's just a concern. I mean, I think that with the acquisition of new studios, I think potentially Microsoft is into um, setting themselves up for for success in the future. Daniel says, Enrico, why don't what I don't get is why don't you just ask them why they act this way? Yeah, why do you guys act that way? Why is this need to go after the media? Like I'll never understand that. I just don't. And not to say that they get it right every time, or They're perfect because no one is perfect. Anything that involves any kind of human interaction is probably flawed because human by natures are flawed. But I don't, yeah, like why this feel the need to attack if you like something and someone else doesn't like it? Why these conspiracy theories? Like these conspiracy theories are so unfounded. I'm telling you, I've talked to, we've had Ryan McCaffrey on BRAP. I've talked to these guys who are gaming journalists, and look, I gotta be honest. At the end of the day, they just love games. They don't care. Most of them just don't care what platform. Uh, Ashton Lucas says, I don't understand your need to always defend the media. So I guess it goes both ways, Enrique. I understand. I defend the media because I know how hard these guys work. I talk to these guys behind the scenes, and I know that what they do is not easy. And the day and age of internet, of the internet and social media, these guys get trolled a lot. They get harassed, and they have a hard job. Look, I wouldn't want to be a game reviewer at this time. Um, I think they do. I think they do the best job that they can do. But I don't necessarily agree with people telling them that they're dipshits. That they're. I've seen people refer to Ryan McCaffrey as a douchebag. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that behavior over a disagreement over a video game review. I just don't. I just think that that's terrible, and I just don't think that's a good look for the industry. And yeah, you're right. Look, we all have our personal biases, and that's where that subjective piece of reviews comes into to play. Um, by definition, reviews are in part fact and the opinion of the end user's experience, and that's it. And if we don't agree with the end user's experience, but we like it, that's all that matters at the end of the day. It's all that matters at the end of the day. So I just don't. Again, I just don't understand. This anger, this hate that goes out against people um who don't like who don't like the way a game that they like was reviewed. Um, yeah, Lucas says I don't agree with the behavior. No, the media's not always right. No, they're not right. Look. That's the thing. Like I'm not saying that and I said this earlier. I'm not saying that the media is always right. They're flawed. Human beings are flawed by nature. Anything that humans touch is going to be flawed because we're flawed. We're flawed people by nature. That's the plight of humanity. That we're just flawed individuals. You can see it in every aspect of of civilization, whether it's big businesses, government, So, um, but I'll say this, like my opinions like, it's funny. I'm reading the chat. I see a lot of people saying they should get rid of scores. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think because I wonder like how many people actually um I wonder how many people actually like read the reviews. Like let me ask you guys something in live chat. How many of you actually read a review, or do you just look at the score? D True says that rather than reviewing it than a reviewer with Xbox in their name giving Crackdown a 9 out of 10. Okay. Look, and here's the thing. I mean, if you don't agree with the media, there's certainly other media sites you can go to. I would just say, hey, you know what? Probably, focus on those media sites that tend to, align with your own personal views and opinions. The Ashton Lucas says, I don't think people should be whining on Twitter about other opinions. Plenty of people hate on Destiny and Kingdom Hearts, and I just ignore them. Some guy says I read the reviews and don't care about the score. Let me ask you this. Let me ask you something. Some guy, when you often read the reviews, have you come away thinking, well, you know what, that review, maybe this game sounds better than maybe the initial, uh, than just looking at the score. OBJ Don says I don't think they should get rid of scores at all. That's bullshit. OBJ, I disagree with you, sir. I disagree with you, and I tell you why, because I really think people just look at the scores, and then I think then they just take that and run with it. OBJ Don, I also want to reiterate that streaming games is the future. Let's see here. RG Viper X says, I read the reviews and the negative ones were wrong for the most part. Are you referring to Crackdown? Slomo says, look at the score. I really don't care about their opinion. There's a small selection of reviewers I actually watch, and it's small from YouTubers. Airless says, I give Crackdown a 3 out of. Oh my goodness. Okay. Um, Sleeping Goblin says, I used to read. Problem is, over time, I've actually really turned off. Feels like critics actually getting tired of games after a while, nitpick a lot. It's their job after all. I mean, look, their job is to be um critical, to think critically of games. Some reviewers more than others. Some reviewers take a different approach to how they review games. Um, Z Black Rice says reviews can make or break a game. There should be some objectivity involved. I don't look. I don't think that reviewers should go in with the mindset of, "Oh, I don't want to make or break a game," and I think they need to. They're not review a game. People who review games aren't marketing. They don't work for the marketing departments of these companies. So I think that look, I think at the end of the day, and this is just my opinion on things. I think at the end of the day, and what I've always said about Microsoft's first party studios, to be outside of Gears, outside of Halo, outside of Forza, those are the 3 top tier franchises for them. They consistently receive positive reviews because they're good games. And I've always said this: good games get good scores. Bad games get bad scores. And you could say, well, how can you say that? Well, I think when you see a consensus, when you see it, a majority of gamers, reviewers saying, "Hey, you know what? This game is great," or "This game is average." There's probably there could be probably some truth to that. That's been my experience. Just gaming over the last 37 years. Whenever there's been a consensus, there's usually some truth to that. And when I've applied that with buying games, um, it's worked well for me. But that's been my experience. OBJ Don says, hold these devs and publishers accountable for making trash. Praise the ones that make good games, scores that do well. Good games always get good scores. And that's the thing. Like, people attack, Ryan McCaffrey for, his reviews and stuff. But, people don't congratulate him when he actually puts out a good review of a game. Like, it's just interesting. John Feliciano says, stop all the damage controlling, man. I'm not sure what you're referring to and what kind of damage control. Some guy says, I read to see if the game has what I'm looking for and know what negatives are in the game. Scores are pointless. I don't feel like they represent someone's personal preference. Yeah, dude, I can totally see that. I think, like Forte said, it's reviews should be used as reference points, not facts per se, or the gospel, if you will. And Nate says people don't want to face majority opinion of the quality of something. I mean, look, man, there's something to be said to that. And I always say this. Look, Nate, I like to use my McDonald's analogy here for Crackdown 3. Look, we've all been to McDonald's. We all have had a Big Mac. I'm assuming most of us have had a Big Mac. Look, I like McDonald's. I think their French fries are great. If I get a Big Mac, I enjoy it. It tastes good. It fills me up. It's good. It's good. It's great. You know. But if I go out and I go to Slow-Mo knows what I'm talking about. If I go to Clyde's restaurant, I don't know, it's a nicer restaurant here where I live. And if I go to Clyde's and I order a burger from there, let's say it's a Kobe beef burger, and I compare it to the Big Mac. The Big Mac, look, no, McDonald's is going to be mediocre or average compared to that Kobe beef hamburger that I got. And look, I think a lot of people would agree that McDonald's is mediocre food compared to like a Five Guys or Shake Shack. And so I think when Ryan's been getting a lot of heat, Ryan McCaffrey at IGN's been getting a lot of heat for saying that it's okay to like things that are mediocre. He's not lying. It's true. As people, as citizens of planet Earth, We enjoy mediocre things every day. Oh, Sleepy Goblin, the Kobe beef burger, boy, dude, it is amazing. It's great. That's all I have to say. Man of Leisure says, "My God, French fries are horrible." I disagree with you, sir. French fries are good, but that's okay. But yeah, I mean, so it's funny. Like I see people have said, and I got into a couple debates with people about this. And look, friendly debates too. I think, hey, look, I think it's okay to disagree, to have civil discord as long as we're polite with each other. Um, Oh, man, Alicia's my God, French fries are horrible from McDonald's. Yeah, they're not the healthiest for you, man. I mean, if you ever seen them come out of the deep fryer and they throw them in that little, the like whatever the pen that holds them, the French fries, and you see it take the salt shaker and it tears. It's like there's like pounds of salt coming out of the salt shaker. It's crazy. It looks like a snowstorm of salt that's going with these fries. But I'm not gonna lie though, they taste good. They taste good. Um, so look, we enjoy mediocre products all the time. We just do. Look, I have a TCL 4K TV. Uh, it's for its price range, it's a good value. But if I compare it to an OLED 4K TV, well, you know, yeah, it's not as good. But I'm okay with that because I enjoy the TV. It works for me. And yeah, I just wish people would have that same mindset with gaming. It's not the end of the world. It's not a us versus them mentality. Um, and it's okay to say that you like something that's not perfect. I mean, that's just part of that's just the way it is. I mean, I and my debate with some of these folks about what Ryan was saying like, hey, people calm down. Like it's okay to like something that scores average. Slow-mo says TCL's top models are usually good. Yeah, no, they're good. I'm just trying to compare it to OLED, but um Sleepy Goblin says, I love my TL's TCO is the best. No, but it's a great value. And that's the point. You like it. You like it. Sleepy Goblin, you're not going to go ape shit over someone who says the TCO is not as good as the LG OLD. You're just not. I mean, just because it works for you. Um, I'm gonna go back up to what's up, Chief Tomei. Chief says, I think Chief's been pretty. Chief says to people to stop. Don't speak on Crackdown 3 if you know a little bit about the marketing, etc. Phil himself wanted up there with Halo and Gears, and that's another interesting point. Like, did Microsoft potentially set themselves up, with Phil saying he wants Crackdown 3 to be amongst the pillars of Halo and Gears, and he did say that he said he wanted it to be up there with those franchises, and that may have right or wrong, may have set the bar high, too high. Um, but it is what it is. The Ashton Lucas says they set themselves up for failure. I mean, maybe they did. I mean, I think um, that's a valid point because Phil did say that, and so do the expectations of gamers, coming into this think, hey, you know what, this is going to be amazing. It's going to have cloud destruction. It doesn't, it's going to have Terry Crews. Um, yeah, and Ashton Lucas says, but a want doesn't equate to reality, unfortunately. That is true. That is true. That is very true. Um, Nate says TVs are a real stretch area since there are so many things that quality depends on. Everyone has a different setup. Even oldies have their setbacks. Yeah, it's true. It's true. But I would say that you could probably apply the same logic to games, because there's different things that go into what makes a game. Um, Man of Leader says Halo's going to have to come full beast mode for any Microsoft friend redemption. I don't know, man. I don't know about that. Um, I don't know. Look, look, this. I don't want to get this. Why Microsoft is in the situation it is. I think we all know that. Um, but I think we can all agree they're taking the steps to right the ship, and that's good. We want to see that as consumers. Slow mo backslap says, "Let's be real. Not a damn person heard what Phil said and expected that game to be on the same level as Halo and Gears." I mean, I didn't, slow mo. I didn't expect, having played Crackdown, the first one. I didn't expect it to be on the same level as Halo and Gears. Slow mo says the community been shitting on Crackdown for 2 years now. Which community are you talking about? Like the Sony community, or are you talking about? What are you talking about there? What are you referring to there, Slow mo? By the way, I still can't believe Eric Jackson actually liked Devil's Third. I mean, that game, it wasn't a good game. No, Slow-Mo says everyone. I mean, yeah, I mean Slow-Mo. I think people were look. I think people were concerned, man. I mean, you guys remember the Dietrich says 4 years. You guys remember the San Diego Comic Con demo of Crackdown 3? We were like, whoa, like what is going on? And Nate says, good example on Twitter. Two guys were talking about Days Gone versus World War Z, and they said they feel the co-op makes World War Z more interesting to them. To me, the quality of World War Z looks worse by far, and I love co-op. Oh, okay. Eric Jackson says, nope, it's a good game, but it's what? But it's an awesome train wreck. OBJ Dedon says Metro's in the 80s. From what I see, no one is saying that the game doesn't deserve its good score. See, that's interesting. That's an interesting point, OBJ, because when games score good, people aren't saying, "Oh, that game doesn't deserve it." You might have a minority of people, but most people don't say that. Chief Tommy says slow mo. It's Phil. Some dudes think he's the greatest and says no lies. Look, man. At the end of the day, Phil's job is to sell consoles. He's got to answer to shareholders. So take that as it is. All right, guys. So I will have a review up of Crackdown 3 later this week. As I mentioned, I hit look, there's so much it's I hit a brick wall. I've been trying to get through it. I just feel like it's just, um I feel like it's too repetitive for my liking. Um and it's funny I'm seeing people compare Crackdown 3 now to Agents of Mayhem. I mean, like if you like the game, you don't need to compare, Crackdown 3 to Agents of Mayhem. Like if you like it, list the reasons why you like Crackdown 3, but I don't think comparing it to Agents of Mayhem. I mean, like that's look, if you like it, you like it. Slomo says, I don't take any of these executives' word for it. Phil out here saying Crackdown may be on the same level. Halo, lay down here lying about crossplay. Y'all need to realize who the source is. Hey, what's up, Monkey Punch? Slow mo, man. Like, yeah, dude, you're right. At the end of the day, man, these guys are marketing. They are shilling for the companies they work for. That's their job. Their job is to sell consoles, bring money in, increase revenue. Eric Jackson says my whole point on Devil's Third is that game is a Metal 42, but it also has a pretty solid cult following of people who like it regardless of the reviews. It's fine for games to fall there. Teacher says I did that when Agents of Mayhem first came out. Truth, did you find were you comparing Agents of Mayhem to Crackdown? Is that what you were? I think that's what you're saying. All right, D Truth has not responded yet. Come on, respond. Okay, so you were comparing Agents of Mayhem. I've heard that too. I've heard that comparison. I've heard people say that Crackdown 3 plays better than Agents of Mayhem. I've heard people say Agents of Mayhem does Crackdown better. Let's see here. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to. There's this look great conversation in live chat. I'm just trying to get to a lot of these points that people are making because there's some great opinions go in the live chat. I'm trying to get through all of it, most all of it. OBJ this OBJ the Don says I remember looking at Agents of Mayhem for $5 and being like, nah, and it agrees with him. Let's see here. Agents of Mayhem dropped the ball with no clop, in my opinion. Eric J says, I do find it funny that on Friday so many were up in arms about Crackdown 3 reviews, but by today they have begun admitting that some of the reviews were correct about repentance and it wearing thin. Yeah, I mean, look, the one thing I'll say in my review of the game, that's the consistency. That's where I agree with the reviews. And I would probably, if you were to, put a gun to my head and ask me to give it a score, I'd probably give it a 6.5. Um, and to me, the 6.5 is an average, game. It's not great, it's not bad, it's good, and that's where I would put Crackdown 3. And I'll talk a little bit more about Crackdown 3 in my review because I do. There are some good aspects of it. I don't want you guys to think that I'm totally trashing it. Um, I think it just suffers from a very repetitive gameplay loop and just doesn't do enough to make you want to come back, especially with some of the offerings that are out there right now in that genre. Um, and not only that, I just think at $60 is just not worth. There's not value there in that game at $60. And having played the multiplayer, um, it's just there's just not the destruction is just it's lackluster for me. Um, I think there's other online multiplayer shooters that just do that better, in my opinion. But I'll talk about that in my review. Um, hey, what's up, Butcher Van? All right, guys, I am going to wrap up because I do need to get back to some gaming. I have today off, but I just wanted to do a quick rant because I feel like the Crackdown stuff has just gotten out of control, and people out here um, angry about the reviews. And at the end of the day, guys, I think Forte put it best. Um, Review should just be a point of reference and anything else. And I totally agree with him on that. Eric just says that's why they should have gone with calling it a remake, rematch, or whatever. Calling a sequel kind of implies some kind of change will come. Well, yeah. I mean, Eric, that's the expectation of gamers when there's a sequel. I mean, if you look at Halo to Halo 2, there was improvements in gameplay there. Same with other more popular franchises that have reviewed well. You see that comes to be an expectation. Butcher Van says insane. People are losing their shit. Yeah, I agree with that. Sam Walton says, and I don't agree that you have to like a certain game or genre to review it. Um, Man, I think I kind of agree and I kind of disagree with this. I think like if you're not a fan of like racing games, like should you really review it? Because I mean, I don't know. Like if you're not going to enjoy it, like why? That's probably going to skew your view of the game. Eric J says, and I guess it's because they were counting on the cloud to be the differentiator. Yeah, I think you're right, man. I think that the cloud would have been if they would have been able to execute on that. It would that's the differentiator and the multiplayer. And I hope Microsoft continues with trying to utilize and implement cloud in multiplayer because I could see like with destructible environments, I could see how that could be cool. Um, but I don't think they're doing anything tremendously different that I haven't seen in other games that have destruction. Um, the Almighty Spartan God says, came here to say Crackdown 59 down, Crack 59 down 3 failed in the UK. 4,000 copies, but hopefully Game Pass brings up the numbers. But with Apex Legends out and Anthem coming out, Xbox gamers will be playing that. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry to hear that it's only sold 4,000 copies. I never want to see a game not do well because a lot of these developers pour their heart and souls and a lot of hours into these games. Um, yeah, Nate says you can hear it in a person's voice on the IGN voiceover when someone reviews a game. There's a genre they don't like. I mean, I think that's. I mean, I don't know. I'm not going to judge someone's voice. I mean, I don't know. I think that's hard to say. Without know because we don't know for sure. It's speculation. Cheeto says they need to do more. Just Cause is doing more, and it got a 65. Poor writing, shocker. Yeah, that's right. Well, I don't think Just Cause has ever been known for its narrative. Butcher Van says my issue is that people are overlooking the fact that it does have issues and are simply defending it instead of actually admitting it has a few issues. That's a great point, man. Like that's why I don't like fanboyism because it doesn't hold companies accountable. And like, look, if a game has issues and is not reviewing well, don't sidestep those issues. Like, like own up to it. Like if we all talked about liking games that have issues, but don't defend something or don't purposely overlook something that's flawed because you want to defend this game. Um that's just not good, man. It doesn't it sets a bad precedent. I think it just sets us a low standard, and we want the best. Look, we spend a lot of money in gaming. It's an expensive hobby. We want the best experiences possible. I hear people say, "Oh, but it's fun." To me, fun is the baseline of gaming. That is the fundamental baseline of gaming. Fun. Like that's just a given. Why not have an exhilarating experience? Why not have an experience that for 4 or 5 days after you beat a game, has you thinking about it, has you thinking about, God, I want to go back to this game because it was amazing. The story, the narrative, or the gameplay was just fantastic and it was an exhilarating experience. Why is it that fun is just this baseline? Like that's a given. Like you don't go into playing games because they're not fun. You turn on your console, you're going to have fun. That's a baseline expectation, and we got to stop. I think, like, to me, my opinion on that is that it like let's set the standard a little bit higher with that, and want games that are exhilarating and not just fun. Um, and I will say this: if you can only have fun playing a game with your friends, it's probably not a good game. Just a little food for thought. And he says, listen to the Game Chiller's review for Halo 3. He wanted to make love to that game, and you could hear it. Yeah, I mean but that could also be a byproduct of just Halo 3 being a hell of a good game, which it was. You know, um, I think you see that when look, if a game isn't good, most people aren't going to be excited about it, and that's going to come through. I'm not sure that necessarily means that they're not a fan of that genre. Could mean that the game isn't good. Or it could be, like you said, maybe they're not a fan of the genre. I think there's just too many. We don't know for sure. We don't know for sure. All right. I think that's most of the. All right, guys. I'm just trying to get through all the. Yeah, Nate, I see what you're saying. Nate says I just meant that you could tell how much he loved it, even though they use voiceover for their reviews. Yeah, no, I get it, man. I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. So, all right, everyone, we're going to go ahead and wrap up this rap rant. Again, just wanted to just, just a brief commentary about Crackdown 3. It's not the end of the world, people, that this game is mediocre or average according to the game reviews. If you like it, so be it. But I don't, there's no, I think it's just like I said, at the end of the day, it's just counterproductive to argue and rage out against game reviewers because at the end of the day, if you're having fun with the game, then you're having fun with it. And that's it. That's the bottom line. So, um, everyone, if you haven't had a chance, I did put up a couple videos of I do have a video up of Crackdown, rather gameplay of about 45 minutes of Crackdown 3, the campaign, and I also have about an hour and 20 minutes of Anthem, which comes out this Friday. So, if you're interested in Anthem, want to see some of the gameplay footage from the retail release, definitely check out that video. It's posted up here on the BRAP YouTube channel. Eric J says Enrique, Crackdown 3 is like McDonald's. Sounds good till you get it sounds good to get, but once you consume it, you feel bad a few hours later. He's joking, by the way, people. Um, Big shout out to everyone in the live chat. Great seeing you guys here. Big shout out to the Almighty Spartan God and Nate, D True, Black Metal Gamer, Mike, Monkey Punch, Butcher, Eric Jackson, Slow Mo Forte. Oh God, I hope I'm not the Ashen Luca, Xbox 448, John Feliciano, Z Black Rider, Man of Leisure, Chief Tome, Sleepy Goblin, some guy, Viper I'm sorry, RG Viper X, and Arliss 78, OBJ to Don. Feel like, am I missing anyone else? Envy of Astora, Sam Walton, Irrelative Native, Gaming Forte. I think I said Xbox 448 already. Chicken Spaghetti was in the house. I haven't seen him in a while. Thanks for stopping by, Chicken. Good to see you again. Don't call me Danny. Danjo B. And if I missed anyone else in the live chat, I'm sorry. Didn't do it on purpose, but a lot of people in the live chat today. Thank you all for stopping by, hanging out with us on this BRAP rant. Crackdown 3, the final word. Keep an eye out for my Crackdown 3 review that's going to be coming out later this week. And we'll be back. Basement Radio Arcade will be back this Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So definitely come hang out with us. Remember, hit that like button, subscribe. And hey, if you don't know, you can go to my Twitter page, my profile. You can follow me at BRAP_podcast. And if you see the pinned tweet there, we're actually giving away a copy of Anthem. So it's not too late to enter the contest. It's going to be a digital code to Anthem for your console of choice. So if you're interested in winning a free copy, definitely enter that contest sooner than later. So on that note, everyone, great live chat. Thank you again for stopping by. We'll catch you guys on Wednesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Everyone have a great rest of your day, Monday, and we'll see you later. Peace.